February 2009. I went to Southport Court to file appeal, but I was refused. They would not let me file or accept appeal. February 23, 2009. Chris Burton is framing. I returned on site. I saw the laminated beam on the garage door did not look right. I walk inside from far away. The laminated beam on the left wall didn't look right. I asked Burton, "Is this the right beam for here?" He replied, "Of course." "Are you sure?" He replied, "Would I put a wrong beam there?" I asked to check it again. He replied, "I have already checked, it is the right beam. My big mistake." The Burton cut to pieces a hardwood beam 470 mm x 110 mm that had to span 8.1 mm to hold roof, and fitted the 280 mm x 70 mm softwood beam instead. This was to be cut for small span. March 10, 2009. The day when the roof went on, I never let anyone on site, including myself, for safety. That morning I could not stay away. All morning my good angel kept telling me to go on site. When I walked in I could not believe my eyes. The whole roof was about to collapse. My good angel was holding it up for me. If I had not gone there that morning, the roof would have collapsed and more than 12 lives would be lost. That was confirmed by the engineer on his inspection. He could not believe the roof had not collapsed in that state of support. I stopped work on the roof, and propped underneath everywhere to hold and support the roof so it would not collapse. When I rang and told Burton about his work, he shagged off his responsibilities, said it wasn't his problem, it was my problem. What happened to my recommendations before awarding the contract to rectify and ensure support on load-bearing points was done properly and billed me for that? No, he wanted it to collapse and blamed me for his unprofessional, careless work. Some of the problems: a laminated beam spanning over 8.1 meters in length supporting the whole roof had been substituted for a smaller beam. The two sub-rated stumps supporting this beam and roof weight had been nailed with a block between them instead of being nailed together to form a laminated support. The high-rated stumps that I had provided to be used were not used. The stumps used were not rated for the load GP10. When I questioned Mr. Burton, he replied, "I will use them elsewhere," meaning in a not important place. The stumps had bent so much they formed a C shape. I have never seen a timber to bend so much and not break. The studs holding the beam load-bearing point were supported only by flooring boards between two floor joists. The floor board were also bent behind imagination. The beam supporting the roof was bending at breaking point. 10-minute delay it would have caused the roof to collapse and many men would have been killed. Why? Before Chris ABBREON pricing and awarded the contract, I specified the conditions of his contract. 1. To keep the timber floor covered if rained, and to write down time loss for it. I pay extra for his lost time. 2. I had instructed him to report any defects or problems if I am not on site to carry out repair, and I would pay extra for work needed doing. 3. To check the subfloor and frame, and all load-bearing points. Why did he not do it? Australians are very good people. You can't trust them. This is what the BSA inspector did not want to see or know. The crooks like them and the shinky work they support. If you are paying the BSA inspectors, you can never do wrong. I had to pay engineer and extra beams. I had to pay for the rectification and labor. March 11, 2009. I and the Burton called the BSA at 9:30. The BSA inspector arrived. The Burton was late. Meeting moved to 10:30 a.m. I was explaining the problem to the BSA inspector. He showed no concern/interest about the faults and risk to other people. The BSA inspector asked for his phone. No. I was hesitant to give it. They wanted to speak with him first, to make a deal to protect the contractor and get the bonus at my expenses. That's what they always do. They both returned at 12:30 p.m. They had made deals behind my back. Now the inspector did not want to see any defects. I gave the inspector and Mr. Burton the tape to measure. The inspector pulled the tape in his hand, hiding it. He didn't think I see it to show the measurement only out just a few millimeters. I told him to check it again. He told me that it was right and refused to check. He told me to lay a green board to the ground to cover the mistake. He should have known that green boards cannot be fitted to the ground. Many problems, he refused to see them. Clive Warren and Lorraine DeGerison, general manager of Adjudicate Today, and the BSA forced me to pay him the full contract price. Frame only half done without rectifying any problems or repairs. Took me 6 months and tens of thousands of dollars to repair. March 11, 2009. Next door rang the health and safety inspector to inspect my job. They could not find any faults. Then 1 hour later, Paul Nash from the Building Service Authority BSA come to threaten me, saying that he would report me for safety breach, pointing to something to frighten me, something irrelevant, not knowing that the health safety inspectors had just been and passed what he was pointing at. March 11, 2009. Under orders of the Police Minister Neil Roberts MP, I was charged as a criminal, placed on bail. In court they could not prove any of the charges. Since the order came from the police minister, I had to be found guilty, charged as criminal, and fined. March 29, 2010 Bernard Tyler came to see job and quote, "He has been told by Norris and the BSA that I do not pay anyone and not to work for me." March 30, 2010 January Tyler refused my work. "He has been told by Norris and BSA that I do not pay works. I am building the home for free asterisk. Where are the proofs asterisk?" April 2009 Justice Philip D. McMurdo Supreme Court before beginning immediately dismissed the respondent. To the application for statutory review be dismissed. He dismissed the case immediately without any examination or debate, not a word from me. For over a year Philip D. McMurdo refuses to make reasons of orders available. My lawyer cannot start appeal. 15. February 2010. For callers to Supreme Court Chambers of Justice Philip D. McMurdo PD. At 9:45 a.m. I was told a copy of the order will be on file today by have name later noon call to court. Order not on file. Days later, I drove to Brisbane. Court 100 kilometers from Gold Coast. Order not found. He refuses to make order available. From my lawyer, lawyers do know the law and laws. See Exhibit E. Exhibit E. How the Supreme Court heard 26. The court erred by failing to exercise its jurisdiction under the Judicial Review Act correctly. 27. His Honor ought to have determined that I had been denied natural justice at tribunal level, or that the decision involved an error of law, or that there was no evidence or otherwise to justify the making of the decision, or that decisions were otherwise contrary to law under Section 20. My application thrown out by the Honorable Philip D. McMurdo. May 1, 2009 Developer orders his surveyor to check land level to see who did alteration and who was at fault. It shows that my land level had not moved at all since its creation. It was the other party that altered the level of my land. May 27, 2009 To court for not paying fence and retaining wall. I had filed a claim of no compliance 2 days ago. The magistrate got very angry for my appeal and adjourned it. July 28, 2009 Trevor Davern and Norris are discussing ways to punish me and how to make most damages and avenues for them to take. I am screaming on top of their discussions since I am not allowed to talk. The Judicial Registrar Trevor Davern, after an heated argument, admitted on this occasion to be wrong, saying, "I have just realized that all this time I have been wrong. It has never been about the fence. It has always been about the dirt. I have been giving the wrong orders. All the orders are wrong, against the law." He, this time for the first time, asks me, the very first time, wants me to talk. He asks me, "How can we fix it?" I replied, "You need to redo it." He said, "It is going to cost." He then asks me, "Are you prepared to contribute and repair?" With a flat answer, I say no. He got angry and goes, "Staff you. THI. UF asterisk asterisk. US asterisk asterisk. Words." He then says, "I just make order for you to pay stuff you." October 28, 2009 Saturday morning about 9 am. The bailiff and a policeman came on site where I was working and arrested me, handcuffed me and took me to Southport Watch House. This is coordinate with Norris next door that informs them of my every movements. They did not go to my house to find me. Monday, October 30, 2009 noon I faced the magistrate Terry Duraux. While I was in the detention box handcuffed, he yelled and waved the papers saying, I would be offended if it was me. The lady working with legal aid represented me. She told him she knew nothing about the case for me, and to let me go to get legal advice. He granted her request and let me go. The papers he was waving was my letter of complaints I had written to the court for the abuse of the laws and judge asking them someone to look into it. Chief Justice. I was asked to follow her to the office. Only meter from court. At the office I was refused legal aid. I lost count of the time spent in jail. Whenever I went to court they would handcuff me and lock me up in the Southport Watch House for the day, take me back to court 4 p.m. to be released. They did this to punish me, to show they can do as they please. There is no law in this country. They invent laws for me. I have spent months in Brisbane jail, weeks, and fortnight in Watch House. I lost count. January 18, 2010 QC80 hearing Southport. Trevor Davern now at QC80 still punishing me for their mistakes and make unlawful judgments on all my cases. February 2010 Court of Appeal for mention. The judge granted me the appeal and extension of time. This time I also received from the judges a copy of the dismissal order of McMurdo. I could not get and refused to me for more than a year. March 18, 2010 I went to see my lawyer preparing appeal. I told him a new arrest warrant issued for me. He ranked the court arrest warrant on hold to be in court Monday to be dealt with. March 22, 2010 to court on enforcement hearing order. Before court I filed the order of stay at registry. Crook Arm refuses to take and file. After arguing and insisting he has to file it, he finally takes it and runners straight to my opponent not far from me and hands him a copy before failing in registry. While I wait for a registered copy back,